5 years ago, I quit my full-time job to pursue YouTube full-time. No, obviously not this channel, a different one that earned me a full-time living, had an active community, and was the #1 channel in its niche. And now you may be thinking, that's the dream. But before you go quitting your job, there are 5 things you have to know. Like lesson number 1, you need to be obsessed with your channel and YouTube. So there are 2 things that go into this: being obsessed with your own channel and being obsessed with YouTube. And what I mean by being obsessed with your own channel is like, yeah, of course you're gonna love it if you're doing it full time, or if you want to do it and pursue it full time. But when I mean obsessed, I literally mean obsessing over every little detail about it. When I first started my channel, I was working 9 to 5 at my normal job, and then 5 to 9, honestly more like 3 a.m. on my actual channel. Maybe you can relate. If you can't, then I don't think it's time for you to go full time yet. I was obsessing over every little part of my channel, looking at the metrics coming in, seeing how I can improve every little piece and quality of the video. Of course, I was still learning through that time about how to shoot a proper video, how to increase my audio, how to increase my thumbnails, how to increase my video production, how to increase every little part of the video so that I could get more views. I was obsessed, literally working 12+ hours a day for my full-time job and YouTube. And that, I think, is what it takes at the beginning. But you can't just be obsessed with your own channel. You have to be obsessed with YouTube. You have to know the platform. You have to understand the platform. You have to watch YouTube on a regular basis, and not just watch YouTube, but understand how it works. That means watching YouTube every single day, keeping up with the creators on the platform. Who are the biggest creators? What are they doing? What are the trends in their video topics? How are they filming things? How are they doing thumbnails? There's a lot that goes into crafting a YouTube video. If you're looking for a few channels that could help your own, I would recommend people like Think Media, Roberto Blake, Colin and Samir, Daryl Eves, John Yoche. All of these are great channels that you can obsess over to help you out. And I mean, I was obsessed with YouTube Studio and YouTube Analytics. I'll get to that in just a little bit, but I was looking and seeing who commented on my video, who is new here, how many subscribers did I get? Am I going to reach that monetization threshold anytime soon? What videos could I do next? There's so much that goes into it. You gotta be obsessed. And you may be thinking, well, I don't really have the time to do that, or I need this to be a sustainable business. And yeah, that would be great in the long run to have that sustainability, to have that work-life balance. That's just not really in the beginning stages of building any business, let alone a YouTube business. You gotta put in the hours, you gotta put in the work. I know that's not easy to hear, but it's the truth. But before we go any further, hey, my name's Josiah. I'm a YouTube strategist who's been helping channels from a few thousand subs to a couple million subs to get views for years. And now I'm jumping back into creating a new channel of my own. If you're interested in learning more about YouTube strategy, data, analytics, thumbnails, all of that, make sure you hit subscribe to this channel. I know it's a little bit embarrassing right now. I just have barely any subscribers, but I'm trying to reach even more creators like you, and I would appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button to help me reach even more creators. If you don't like my content in a couple weeks, hey, just hit unsubscribe. No hard feelings, I understand. That leads me to number 2, which is you have to understand how to grow an actual business. I love watching Shark Tank, and then I see the entrepreneurs on there who sometimes don't know their numbers, which blows my mind. But in YouTube, you have to know your numbers. You have to follow your analytics to see where your business is actually growing. If you're trying to quit your job but have no idea what the actual numbers are in your business, then I'm sorry, my friend, you're just aimlessly wandering to nowhere. Yeah, you can hire an accountant, and you probably should, to help you with your numbers, but you need to know those numbers as well. Maybe not on a day-to-day basis, but at least on a weekly or monthly basis, knowing where you are. There are many important metrics to know, but the 2 big ones that I'd say off the bat are your revenue and your cost. You need to know how much money you're bringing in and how much money you're spending every single month. And then I would also say you shouldn't just rely on AdSense as a part of your business. There are other revenue streams to keep building up. There are many videos on YouTube about the kinds of revenue streams. Kinds that I've built up myself include channel memberships, digital products, I love that one, services, as well as donations, physical products, syndication. There's so many streams out there other than just relying on AdSense, which really can be variable month over month depending on seasonality and where advertisers are putting their budgets towards. And now that you know your numbers, that leads me to lesson number 3, which is being frugal. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but like having some sort of budget or understanding where you're coming from. Yeah, I'm a Dave Ramsey guy. Whether you love him or hate him doesn't really matter. But one of the things he talks about is being a spender versus a saver. And you have to know where you fall into line, especially when you just lost your full-time income of a job and are looking to take on another income, which can be very variable in a self-employed business. I mean, personally, during the time that I was running my business, especially in the early stages, I didn't do a whole ton. I didn't go on vacations. I didn't buy a ton of extravagant items. I wasn't buying sunglasses and watches and a new car and whatever. I was making money from the business and then putting that back into the business. I started out filming on an iPhone, but as I brought money in from the business, I upgraded my camera, I upgraded my mics, I upgraded my computer, I upgraded my lighting, I upgraded all these little things over time. The money I was bringing in, I was putting back into the business. And I mean, I understand from an early stage of a YouTube channel, you want to invest in a new camera, but if you spend $500 on a camera, but you're only bringing in $200 that month, you're broke, my friend. And you need to understand where those numbers are and be frugal to actually make that work. And you know your revenue numbers, fantastic. But lesson number 4 is you need to study YouTube analytics. You need to know every little detail about your channel. Okay, maybe not every little detail, but there are some things that you should be studying. If you're just cranking out video after video after video and not reviewing anything, you're not learning and you're not going to grow your business. Imagine a football team that played game after game after game and never reviewed their film. They would never be able to improve their offense, their defense, and none of their individual players would be able to grow because they would be learning nothing from their mistakes on the field. That's the exact same way it is with growing on YouTube. You have to be able to understand what's working and what's not working. Where does your retention drop off? Did you say something in your video that made a ton of viewers leave or were upset about something in the way that you explained it? How are your thumbnails doing? Are you testing anything? Are you using YouTube's A/B testing feature? And who's your audience demographic? Do you know exactly who you are making a video for? You may have an idea of who you're making a video for, but your analytics, your demos may actually say something completely different. You may be thinking you're making videos for a female demographic, but it turns out your audience is 90% male. That would be something that would shake the foundation of your business as you're looking to grow it full time. Do you have an audience that's mostly very, very young and maybe they don't have any buying power, aren't able to support your business full time? Or do you have an older audience who has a more disposable income? Where is your audience watching? Are they watching on TVs? Are they watching on phones? Like, these are all important analytics to help to grow your channel. Listen, you don't have to be in the analytics every single day, but I would recommend checking them out once a week, once a month, every single time you upload a video to see what's actually happening on the back end. And you may even learn lesson number 5 through that. And lesson number 5 is you gotta know your ceiling. But what does that mean? Well, let me let you in on a little secret. So it took me 5 years of growing my channel, growing it into a full-time business before I realized that there was a ceiling to how much I could actually grow. It was a shame whenever I learned that I could grow only so big, but that's how every single channel is on YouTube, whether you look at it one way or another. I'll give you the Mr. Beast example in just a second. But what happened to me is I realized my goals actually exceeded how big my channel could grow. My channel was very, very niche. Yeah, I was earning full-time income from my channel, but that income could only reach so high because the audience was small and they were only willing to spend so much money within that niche. This may sound contrary to a lot of YouTube advice, and I'm not meaning to say it that way because niching down isn't inherently bad. In fact, it's usually good to understand exactly who you are making videos for. But you have to understand that you can niche down too far. If you're making exercise videos about running ultra marathons, you're only gonna have so many people who are doing that. That's the top of people. And sure, they have some buying power. They know exactly what they want, but guess what? you're only going to reach so high, as opposed to if you're making videos about running marathons or running 5Ks or just running in general. Now, if you're just making a channel about exercise, sure, that is a little bit more nebulous. That could be about anything. And while yes, exercise is a bigger audience, that may end up being a little bit too broad. Now, I brought up the Mr. Beast example, and what I mean by that is Mr. Beast actually hit a ceiling a few years ago. He was growing and growing and growing on YouTube, but the ceiling he hit while he was making videos that could really appeal to any type of audience, he actually hit a ceiling of US viewers, or at least viewers who spoke English, because he was only doing his videos in English. So what did he decide to do? He invested in dubbing his content into other languages, his multi-language audio. And from there, he was able to grow in different countries. And you see actually in certain charts that his views took off after he started doing that. But let me bring it back, because if you haven't caught on yet, I'm no longer doing my full-time channel, but I am starting this one. And I have a top secret plan to grow to 1,000 subscribers in just 30 days. If you want to find out how I'm doing that, you can watch this video right here.